Well, I think it's like a lot of things in life, Dan, that what happens is people, we're all scared of saying that help word, and we feel that that makes us sort of, oh, there's something wrong with us if we need help, it's a sign of weakness, all these types of things. Whereas the frightening thing is that if a really good friend of yours asked you for help, you would say, yeah, of course you can, how can I help you?
Yeah.
So what happens is we don't ask for the help of the people that know and trust us, and without putting too much, deep thoughts into it, but people who love us and trust us and really want us to be successful, we don't ask them for what we're looking for, because an awful lot of the time we don't know what we're looking for, and that kind of is a problem. Well, it comes down to target market. Most people don't know what the target market is, and it's kind of, oh, I can do, I've heard it 100 times where people will say, oh, but I can deal with anybody. But if people go back to their database, their current database of active clients, and work out what it is that people do, because a lot of people will say, but I deal with domestic, general public, but there will still be a little cycle going on in there of their top clients and what they actually do. Well, wouldn't it be a good idea to find more top clients who do that specific occupation? So why not find out, if you dealt with a lot of doctors, for instance, why wouldn't it be a good idea to find out how you can meet more doctors? Well, again, to me, I keep asking, every time I do a seminar, I'll ask this question. How many of you know everybody in this room today? And they won't know everybody. And then I'll say, how many of you have a top 10 list of clients that you would like introduced to? And invariably nobody has. Or I get a few people who say, oh, I have, but I left it at the office. Well, that's not kind of helpful. You've come to a networking event, or, in B&I terms, it's a referral meeting every week, but you don't come with who you're looking to speak to and start asking people. It's a wasted opportunity. Every time we go to a B&I meeting, or any time we go to a networking event and we don't ask somebody if they know somebody on our top 10 list, then that's a hugely wasted opportunity. The thing I get time and time again is people say it's quite difficult. Well, if it's difficult for us and we're the guys that are wanting the business, how difficult is it then for people who want to refer us business that they don't know what to refer us, because we haven't, systemized it and we haven't got it down to that fine infinitum. I also think that people don't believe it can be that simple. I think people, because there's 1,000 speakers out there in the world today who will tell you that there's 25 secrets to this and 100 secrets to that, and if you only unveil this particular secret, this will change your life. And I'm sorry, but it's all nonsense. People buy people. I think there's not many people that I've ever spoken to, and I've been lucky enough to speak pretty much around the globe. There's nobody, when I ask that question, would you agree that people buy people, say that that isn't the case. So if that is the case, and we're all kind of agreed on that, then why can't we just ask the people that know and trust us for help, for introductions too? But people want to make it more complex. Well, how many times do you go to a networking event and people are trying to sell to other people? Because the last time I was in London, I asked that question. There was over 800 people in the audience, and I asked the question, how many people came here to sell? About 799 hands went up. And then I asked the question, how many people are here to buy? And surprisingly enough, no hands went up. So there's a slight incongruence with what's happening in the room. And so if you go into a room like that and you suddenly said, hi Dan, really good to meet you. I was wondering, you don't happen to know this person, do you? Because I don't even know if they might be in the room today, Dan. But would you have any idea of an introduction to them? Do you now feel threatened by me?
No, not at all.
So at a networking event, if you actually were in with your top 10 list and actually said to somebody, you don't happen to know this person, in fact, you don't know if they would be here, because that would be a fantastic introduction for me. All of a sudden now, you don't feel threatened, yeah?
Yeah.
So we're in a different place with the conversation, because then I could be turning it on you and saying, so Dan, is there anybody that I could help you with? Is there anybody you in particular looking to meet. Now, 9 times out of 10, that person will say, well, I don't really know. And that's because they haven't done the homework.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going out at all, I mean, time is money, and we all know that. So when we are marketing our business, because that's what we're doing when we're going to these events, is we're marketing our business. Well, what are we hoping to gain? You know, a pocket full of business cards that mean nothing and have no value? Or do we want to actually get to introductions? Are we looking for people? Because the funniest people lead us to where we need to go. And 9 times out of 10, people will look at somebody and go, no, I can't sell to them, so they're of no interest. But that person's contacts may be so vast and varied that you don't know who they might lead you to. So I always say to members or business people that I work with, when you say no to a conversation with somebody, you're not saying no to them. You're saying no to the 1,000 contacts that they will definitely have, if not more. And you don't get access to them because you haven't taken time to actually speak with them. Referral partners are really important because, again, most people will not lie, but they'll be kind of have poetic license with how well they know people. When I talk of working with referral partners, these have to be people that we know and trust and that we have a relationship with. Now, your best customer today is somebody that you didn't know before. Yeah, so we always start with something. So there's two different things I think we're speaking about here, Dan, is that if we're at a networking event, we're looking for that initial introduction and then follow-up. Now, we go on about follow-up, 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 and the amount of people who don't follow up is frightening, and it still continues today. And people say, are outraged and say, that'll never happen. Any seminar I do, I'll tell them, the room, that if I've got 250 people in the room, I'll say, probably only 10 of you will follow up, and the rest won't. And I think there's an element that they're scared, because, you know, there's that old saying, be careful what you ask for. Well, I think a lot of people ask for things and get it and then don't know what to do. Because luck is all about when preparation and opportunity come together. So if you're prepared and the opportunity comes, then you create your own luck. And a lot of people kind of don't do that because they're not prepared. So you need to be prepared with top 10 lists of people that you'd like to speak to. So if we look at the informal networking event, the start of the relationship, yeah? Because you asked about referral partners, but this is the start of the relationship, because there'll be two sides to this. So there's people who we need to get that initial introduction. My attitude of going to a networking event is, in my head, it's I need to get 5 cups of coffee out of this event. And what I mean by that is I need to book an appointment with 5 people to go and have a cup of coffee with them to see how we can mutually benefit each other. Because that's what it's all about. It's about being mutually beneficial to each other, yeah? So that's that aspect of it. The referral partners, these are people that we know, and they are clients that we already have. We need to be sitting down and educating them who would be good introductions for us, and finding out from them who would be good introductions for them, but not to flood each other with it. So like, I often say to people, just give us the top 2 clients that you have right now and exchange that with each other. And just ask the question, are these of any interest to you? Because I really do know them. I know them extremely well, and they would take a call from me, and in turn they would take a call from you. But then I also have the other whys. I believe in the 3 whys. People who are your referral partners that you know and trust. Number 1 why is they need to know why you do what you do. Because again, that's really, really important and can block referrals. So you need to just be honest with them and tell them why it is you do what you do. The second why is, why do you want to speak? Because it's fine being able to say, I want an introduction to this person. Why? Why do you want an introduction to them? And then the third why, which I think is the utter crux of it all, is that I get a lot of people who say to me, Richard Branson would be a great introduction for me. Yeah? Well, why would Richard Branson want to speak to you? Because if I'm your referral partner and I don't know why you do what you do, I don't know why you would want to speak to Sir Richard Branson, and I don't know why he would want to speak to you. If I knew a way of getting you in there, but I didn't have these facts all dealt with in my head, then I'm not going to do it. And here's the sad thing, I won't tell you. I just won't do it. So neither of us are better off, if that makes sense. this is this is what I call my accountability with each other. We have to be accountable to each other, and people don't like that word because I think it creates all sorts of connotations, whether negative from school days where you got a clip round the ear because you didn't do something, or you got detention because you forgot your homework. The accountability aspect. So Dan, if you and I sit down today and I said, right Dan, here are 3 people that I know and trust and you want an introduction to them, I have to agree by when I'll make those introductions for you. Okay? You may say that you've got 3 top people and I just want an introduction to one. What we then must do is within 7 days, 21 days, whatever we agree, we get back with the results of the introductions to see how it went. Because every time we come back and review it with each other, we're educating each other better and better about how our businesses work and how introductions work best for us. And here's the really neat trick about it all, is that each month we'll get new clients. We need to exchange that with each other. Because I'm a huge believer in what I call target market commonality. We're all already dealing with people that we all want to do business with. So that it's one of those simple statements that sounds complex. But for instance, when I was in Minnesota recently, I asked the question, who's all dealing with lawyers? And about 17 people put their hands up, and not one of them was the same lawyer. So that's target market commonality. In that room, there were 16 opportunities for one person, because they were all different companies, but they all dealt with lawyers. So we could have that in our database, we just need to identify it. It's just regular monthly meetings with your referral partners. You know, in B&I terms, we have it on a weekly basis. Yeah? So we can be doing that with our 5 or 6. Because I'm a huge believer in no matter what size your chapter is, in B&I terms, there's only going to be about 5 or 6 people tops that actually gel with you. Now, shock horror and people will shoot me down. There's only 5 people. And if you get 5 people, you're a very lucky person. Because in most accounts, it's less than that. But if you get 5 people with B&I, brilliant. You want to work with them on a weekly basis. That's when your B&I meeting becomes very, very productive. But if you're not in B&I, and even those that are in B&I who want to do even more, then a monthly meeting with your referral partner is an absolute minimum to get back to each other and review, educate, review. It's continuous. It's like the Forth Road Bridge. We have a standard joke back home in Scotland where the Forth Road Bridge gets painted, and then the minute they finish at one end, they've got to go back and start again. And it's exactly the same with your referral partner. This is a never-ending process. I fail to see where that, because you get the confidentiality thing from, maybe a bank or a lawyer or whatever. But it's funny how they all refer business to each other anyway. So I don't believe so. I think when you have, I know that when you have the trust and the relationship with somebody, then there is no issue. And I think people love to put up barriers to say, but I can't do that because, and it's one of the things I always laugh at, is that people will always find loads and loads of reasons why they can't do something, rather than thinking, well, actually, I could do it if I did it this way. Or I may have to do it this way, or I may have to rewrite, not the rules, but just kind of do things a bit differently. We can all do this if we really want to, but it's too easy, so maybe we wouldn't have to do it, because it might work.